Year 5 and 21-22 is quickly upon us. It's been 27 or 28 practices, I think today was, since we officially got started. And we welcome in the Jackson State team who's very good, very talented. There's no doubt that we know we're without Kofi in this game, and as disappointing as that is, and obviously, no pun intended, it's a huge loss. And this group is going to have to collectively rebound the basketball at a very high rate. This team and the McKinnis kid brings in, I think, the nation's leading rebounder. He is extremely fun to watch on film. When you start looking at 13 rebounds a game, you're talking about a guy that just chases every ball. Has an extremely quick second bounce. Is a guy that if you go attempt to block a shot and you don't crack down on him, he dunks it. And then they've got in the James Jonas kid, or Jonas James, a young man who is a veteran point guard. He is speed on speed. He's got tremendous burst. He's got great speed. He's got a great knack of getting in the paint. And a team that is unique in terms of their pace of play. They're extremely slow. They're an extremely athletic team that plays extremely slow. Now, that's not to say they won't run in transition. They will. But their pace of play is one of the slowest in the country. They'll run a lot of clock. Then they're literally their best, sometimes their best offense is just going to chase it on the glass. Their coach is Coach Brent does an unbelievable job of getting his guys to play extremely tough, extremely aggressive, and they do that on the offensive glass. So it'll be a great test for our guys, especially without Kofi, Omar Payne, Ben Coleman, DeMonte, Jacob, Brandon Lee. All of those guys are going to have to be extremely active on the glass. So it's a big concern coming in, and they're a team that is very, very aggressive on the defensive end. They'll deny, they'll play a lot of different ball screen coverages, they'll press a little bit. So a team that is knows how to win, They make a lot of winning plays. They've taken charges, they dive on the floor for loose balls, and I don't expect this team to be any different than last year's team. They've got a young man that transferred from Tulane, had a very good career to this point. We obviously don't have film, so we don't know a ton about him and what that looks like to this team, but we're expecting him to be very good. A young man that transferred from Wichita State. So this is a team that's got some guys who've been through some battles. So we're excited, look forward to it, and 21-22 season is here.
Coach, any more news any more news on what, the health of the team, what players might be available or not available tomorrow night?
Yeah, it'll be day by day. We obviously, Trent went down in the exhibition game. He's been back working out. We'll see. Hutch did not play in the last game with Phil the day before. He's a guy that we'll see day by day. We'll see before the game what his availability is. So, and obviously Kofi's out.
We haven't seen you guys for a week and a half, so we didn't want to be on. So
That's good. That's really good, by the way.
We'll see you every day this week.
So we do see you every day. We'll those guys are, been working their way back, and then we'll obviously be without Kofi, so we've made adjustments that way.
I think there's always anticipation for the start of the season. Is that heightened at all this year, just knowing maybe, you know, what you have and maybe, you know, what you've done the last 2 years and continuing to build off of that?
I think we're thirsty. I think that we're a team that is not happy. I don't think we're happy with the way the season ended. I think we want more. I think I want more. I think that I want the challenges that come with that. The only way I know how to best describe that is sometimes you know, we're starting the season without Kof and you've gotta be continually trying to push and want more. I think this team is that. Does that come with excitement? Absolutely. Does it come with a lot of possibilities? Yes. And I think I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to the maturity, watching this team grow. And I think that's one of the things that we're really excited about. We get a little stunned, we get stunned here a little bit without Cove, but that's as disappointed as I am in that, I'm not gonna comment any further on that, but yeah, I am really excited. I think anytime you've got 2 Naismith Player of the Year candidates, I think anytime you got a preseason Player of the Year, anytime you got 2 potential All-Americans, a defensive stopper or 2, DeMonte and Trent, I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic. That doesn't guarantee you any wins. You gotta go out and whoop it, but it's a lot of reason to be excited, but we're very, very thirsty. I think that's one of the things that one of the terms I'm using, we just gotta keep wanting more.
Coach, we were told that there's been a lot of battles between Omar and Kofi in practice without him being eligible for the next 3 games. How have you worked out? Has Coleman Hawkins worked more at center, or how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, it's been good. I think one of the things that we've really tried to do is be very flexible with Coleman. Omar, we tried to simplify. We tried to make sure that he's learning a new system, that the game has been simplified for him. Omar and Kofi go at it every single day. Omar gets better every day, and yesterday was a great day. I hope that we stack that another one today. But meaning Coleman, his flexibility really can allow him to play in multiple positions. He gives us a different look as a 5-man because he's an elite shooter. He's a pick and pop guy. He's a guy that has ball handling skills and passing skills. So it gives us a different look than maybe those other 2 guys give us. So, Coleman can play some small forward. We can put him in ball screens, which we have and are doing, and we can also have him set ball screens. So I love Coleman's flexibility, and it's one of the reasons we recruited him, and it's one of the reasons he's maturing into a really, really good player.
Coach, I kind of wanted to ask you about the toughness aspect. You mentioned that multiple times to us without guys like Trent being completely active in practice, like it sounds like he hasn't been in the last couple of weeks. Where are you at in that aspect, and where have you maybe grown in the last week or so?
I hope we're getting tougher. I'm pushing them. I think our guys would tell you that we're trying to, and I don't mean toughness by pushing them by me just screaming at them. It's making them uncomfortable a little bit and pushing through, learning to execute and set screens when you're tired and you're breathing hard. And you have to step to the free throw line and you're exhausted and make a free throw. And it's all those little things like that come with being uncomfortable in adversity. I think we're getting a lot better. I think we've made huge strides in that area since I started bringing it up for the first exhibition. So I'm excited about that. I love where our leadership is at. DeMonte is by the way back, and Jacob Grandison, those 2 guys in particular, we're starting to see it in Coleman, helping Kofi, helping Trent. I'm starting to see leadership form, and that's something that helps in that toughness area.
Can you tell us any more about the process with the Kofi thing? Was it self-reported? Were there appeals? Was it, we knew there was something and you said, we'll find out, and then we didn't. Can you tell us any more about how that went?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that there was some issues with the trunk, and there's just nothing you do. You write it up, you turn it in, and that was part of the reinstatement process for him. And then you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and, you do everything that you can do. I've said I was disappointed, young man that chose to come back to college, I think it's a really, really good thing. Kofi did that for a lot of reasons. Kofi's way above, ahead of, normal in pursuing a degree from this university. I think that played into all of his choices as well, but, we also have, a lot of COVID timelines in there that were very different this year. And that's one of the reasons I was disappointed, but we just said wait, and that's, when we got the answer, and that's where we're at.
Coach, you mentioned getting on the glass as a key. What are some other keys to the game for you guys in this first game against Jackson State?
Yeah, I'm really looking for offensive execution because they're gonna throw a lot of defenses at us. They pick up full court, they'll, three-quarter court, 1-2-2, they'll play a little, matchup zone, in the past. So, handling those early are always interesting pieces. We've spent a good amount of time on the press, we've spent a good amount of time, which we always do, but, I'm always very conscious of teams playing zone early. So we've spent a lot of time, even dating back to the summer, on zone offense, but, how you handle those things, are all things that are up front at the top of the priority list, along with rebounding.
Last time we saw you, you were pretty thrilled you're gonna have some game film from the IUP to show the team. Just what benefit did you see from maybe the adversity in the last week plus?
Yeah, and IUP was good, guys, and I'm telling you, we saw so many breakdowns in our ball screen coverage. And that was, on both sides with just the guards and the bigs. They were in great action. They were a team that forced us to execute. They played a little bit different defensively, in trying to stop Kofi. Obviously, Kofi was in the game and was a big part of that, where they just didn't guard people. We called it dork. They just dorked Jacob Grandison and Coleman Hawkins and just dared them to shoot it. And, that's a little unusual. I hope anybody does that, again. We're talking 40+% three-point shooters, and they just, didn't guard them, but, we haven't seen that. So there was a lot of things that I think our offensive execution is one of the things we've had to try to clean up a little bit. And have worked a lot on that, just cleaning up sets and actions.
Coach, you mentioned that all offseason that you really want to focus on speeding up the pace of play. You just said that Jackson State is going to go a lot slower. So is that going to kind of throw a little glitch in the game plan? Are you guys going to keep going fast? What are you going to do to counter that?
Hopefully rebound the basketball. One of the big keys to rebounding or one of the big keys to running is rebounding. And, you've got to get the ball off the glass so that we can get out and push. And, I think it's one of the areas that we can excel in, should excel. But again, you're losing 10 rebounds a game in Kofi. We've got a group rebound to do that. And once we rebound, we've got multiple guys who can push. And that's one of the things that, we're trying to do, and get guys playing in space. And we've got guys who are very, very good shooters, as well as rim runners. So that all starts with running and rebounding. And your last defensive assignment is rebounding, and we can't forget that one before we can get out and go play offense.
Brad, I even think early on you said that in the preseason that Omar's been one of your best players in practice. I was curious how you think you can get that translated when they turn the lights on during games, and what you think maybe the disconnect was in the second exhibition game.
Yeah, I think maybe it was kind of the way the game went. I was in hindsight, didn't realize I played him 9 minutes. I wanted to play him a little more. Obviously, Kofi got going there in the second half, but, it was it was meant as no disrespect to him, because he has been good, but, obviously now without Kof, he's gonna get all the minutes. I think one of the things we've really tried to build with him is stamina, and work on his conditioning. We've seen that grow immensely, but he's got a great opportunity. I'm excited for him, the opportunity to hear these first 3 games against all really good opponents who have very, very good front courts, to go out and establish himself and be a factor on the glass, and be a factor on the defensive end, as well as what we know he can do offensively. So, great opportunity for him.
Nico in the back.
You played well down the stretch when Io had to be out last season. Do you see maybe a potential positive in the long term, seeing what some of the younger guys can do without Kofi in the lineup here to start the season?
Ask me that before we go to Kansas City. No, yeah, I mean, I think that's the natural is, you know, everybody says we've got depth, we're gonna find out how that works. We know we're getting 30-plus minutes a game without Kofi, and multiple rebounds and multiple points, and you don't just, you take the National Player of the Year off any team, and there's gonna be a significant loss. Great opportunity for others. We just did it with Io at the guard spot. Now this is an opportunity for our front court guys to have to figure that out as well. We're probably a little less proven at those spots than we were a year ago, but that doesn't mean we're less talented. And I love Coleman. Guys, I think Coleman Hawkins is gonna be spectacular, and I'm really pleased with Omar. Ben has become a defensive stalwart for us, and so I'm really excited about seeing what these guys could do here in the next 3 games, and it will provide some strength and some depth and I hope a lot of confidence.
Brad, I know we asked you this in Indianapolis, but just with the 2 exhibitions and then more practices, how have you seen that backup point guard situation, and even with Trent limited in the last week or so, how have you seen that kind of shape out?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I feel really good about is we've always had multiple handlers. You know, DeMonte's played it, Coleman is very gifted there. We're not stuck by playing offense by having one primary handler. Now, obviously, you know, Bellows, special. Trent went, I think, 7 games without a turnover. You know, hope I'm no dummy, want to make sure that those guys have the ball as often as we can, but if DeMonte plays it, Hutch plays it, we've run Coleman there some in practice, looking at different lineups. We've used Jacob Grandison as kind of a secondary handler against presses and a lot of those things, so we get multiple guys who can handle the ball, so I'm feel pretty good about that.
From that last exhibition with DeMonte out and Trent playing just a few minutes, did that create a scenario where you need someone else to maybe step up to set the tone defensively?
Yes, no doubt. If I was as disappointed in one thing coming out of the IUP, it was there was no grit, there was no substance, there was no I'm going to guard the ball and that's my guy and by golly, he's not going to beat me off the bounce, and we didn't have that, and we didn't have that fight, and there's no doubt that DeMonte, Trent bring that to us. To a certain extent, Hutch brings that to us, even though we haven't seen Hutch in a game since the first one, but he brings that to us in practice, and so I think it was a great learning curve, learning experience for the freshmen. I think it was great for Plummer. Because Plummer did great on that side, and we challenged him since then to really dial into that end of the court, and he's been much better.
Coach, you talked about the defense and how Plummer may have struggled against IUP. How do you get that want to on the defensive end that Trent and DeMonte and others have to rub off on a guy like Plummer or the 3 freshmen?
I hope I'm pretty good at that. I hope that's, you gotta demand it, and understand there's consequences. We try to make everything competitive, and Fonz watches a ton of film, he's learning, we're holding him accountable, That's, I think, one of the biggest challenges and biggest differences for him is just the accountability on that side of it. Chester's done an unbelievable job every single day of being right in his grill, challenging him on that side of the court. We don't want him just to be a one-way player, just an offensive guy. Those days of Iowa girls basketball have gone by the wayside. You have to play both ends, and so we're holding him accountable on that end.
In the last game with some of the, I guess you could say the players got rattled, there was the technical for Coleman, there was that. Can you take us through the teaching moments with those guys after that of maybe, the other team getting under their skin a little bit?
Yeah, our first video clip was Coleman on TV standing in front of their bench when he got his technical. And that's not who we are. And that's not who, yeah, we play with an edge. I want our guys to do that, but we have to do that. We've talked with Bello about, trying to officiate every play. Next, move on. And those guys have to understand that. And they're competitive. We're competitive in practice. That's all on me. Because we have managers, we have GAs, we have coaches officiating in practice, and I was letting too much of that little chippiness go in practice. So I hope we've got that corrected. But again, we just talked about it. That's not who we want to be. That's not how we're going to conduct ourselves. And we have to be mature enough to handle those situations better. And I'll take all the blame for that because I hadn't addressed it, and now we've addressed it, and we're not going to have any more issues.
Coach had a big week with the season starting, obviously, we had a big week for recruiting, and also we'll be able to talk to you about that later, I guess, but, can you just talk about how you're feeling about the future of the program and the direction that you're going with the young players?
I'm confident. I'm in a really, Rob's got that orange eye on his computer, and that eye's in a really good place. And that brand is really something that I'm very excited about. I'm excited about the impact it's having in state. I'm happy about the excitement we're drawing nationally. I'm overly excited about our staff and the job they're doing in the recruiting game. And it's a unique time in recruiting, something that we've never seen before with, we have 2 extra guys this year because of COVID that, now, you can't really count losing Trent and DeMonte in the numbers game, but you can count losing them as players on the court. So how recruiting impacts, there's gotta be a little patience and a little diligence, and so it's different than it's ever been. Along with the portal. So, we got a lot of things happening, but man, I feel great, and I love where our brand is. I love the attention and the responses that we're getting from young people, not just in this state, but around the country. And so, now we gotta go do our part and always finish them off. But, we'll be able to talk about a few guys specifically, here in a few days, but, I feel really good.
After a 10 turnover exhibition game, how do you and a staff go about trying to maybe break some habits out of Carbello, but without trying to rein in what has actually got him here as a player?
Yeah, 4 of those weren't his. 4 of those weren't his fault. I had another conversation with him today, and it's unbelievable what he sees. And the one thing with Bello that I fall into, they're so sensational. We maximize, we over sensationalize every turnover that he has. I do. And, if he has 5 turnovers, that means converts the other 3 or 4, then he's got 17 assists, 16 assists, whatever, and we're talking about him, but what you see is right. He's making the right plays and he's making the right reads. he got one where he dribbled one off his foot. It was a bad read, it was a bad choice, and he had one where he just kinda jumped up because he got too deep. Most of his happened because he's got too deep. Scouting helps that a lot, because we'll see where teams tag, and so we know if they're early reads or or late reads. I don't wanna curtail him too much. But I also need to understand that he's a high usage guy. And it's not, and a lot of times in a possession, he might not just have it the first time. It may come back to him again, and there'll be a second time to make a play. And, that's exhausting what he does. I mean, play defense, and he was tremendous defensively, graded out better than anybody. But offensively, it's challenging, and I know there's gonna be a few. But, man, his reads are pretty good, and, pretty excited about just that little chemistry. Luke fades to a three, and if he cut, and Bello threw a back cut, it's a layup. It was just, those are the little intangible things that, we'll get better at.
Okay.
See you tomorrow night.